April Fool's Day, the annual purveyor of nonsense that sees every comedian in our lives trying to catch us out with one hysterical prank or another. In more recent years, we've started to see various companies getting in on the japes as well, generally by announcing a new product or service that's slightly balmy for the sake of those sacred social media metrics, though some of them are clever enough to trick us every now and then. For this list, we're looking at some of the funniest April Fool's jokes that the video games industry has unleashed on the world over the years. From ridiculous peripherals and announcements of outlandish titles to silly game modes that actually saw release, there's not a single one of them that was able to pull the wool over our eyes. I'm the hugely cynical Ben from TripleJump, and here are 10 hilarious video game April Fool's jokes. Number 10. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, rainbow is magic. We're kicking off this list with a practical joke, as rather than just sticking to a phony announcement, publisher Ubisoft decided to go for a more radical approach when it came to their 2019 April Fool's prank. For 2 weeks, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege played host to a limited time event that saw one of its maps and everything within it get a very special makeover. The presidential plane, known as the Air Cute One throughout the week, was transformed into a magical wonderland, complete with unicorns, rainbows, and so many shades of pink that even Barbie would question if things had gone a bit far. The actual gameplay was a variation of Hostage, in which players had to rescue a captive and safely return them to their base. However, unlike the normal game mode, the hostage in need of a hero was a large anthropomorphic bear named, rather creatively, Mr. Bear. In addition to the graphical tweaks, the announcer was also replaced with a friendly-sounding voice that could have easily been plucked straight out of a kids' TV show, perfectly framing the experience as a bedtime story. The event was only supposed to run for a week, but ended up being wildly popular. So not only did players get an extra 7 days of magical fun, but they also got to do the whole thing all over again in April 2021. Number 9. Football Manager 1888. Oh yeah, here we go, joke sports time! If you're a fan of the footballs, it's likely that at some point in your life you've had a go at one of the Football Manager games and tried your hand at turning things around for a team like Scunthorpe United. These days, though, the games can be so undignified, and between all of that blatant diving, career-ending fouls, and scandalous headlines, sometimes we feel like it would be nice to take things back to a simpler time. Clearly, the good people over at Sports Interactive had the exact same thought when they decided to unveil Football Manager 1888 on the 1st of April 2013. Announced via the Football Manager Twitter account, players were invited to manage a team through the very first Football League. Naturally, the whole thing was presented exclusively in sepia tones, and there was less emphasis on finishing and more on gentlemanliness and nobbling. As daft as the whole stunt was, Twitter users thought that Football Manager 1888 was a splendid idea and implored the developer to get on with releasing it, but despite them wheeling the idea out from the archives in 2020, there's still no sign of the game being made. Shame, really. I'm quite good at nobbling. Number 8. For Honor plus Rabbids. Well, it certainly seems like Ubisoft like a good April Fool's joke based on the fact that we're only 3 entries into this list and they've already taken up 2 of them. What's next? Assassin's Creed Disney World? Cannibal Corpse DLC for Just Dance? Actually, I quite like that last one. Can we make that happen, please? In 2019, the publisher decided to play a prank on the players of For Honor, a game that's not usually noted for its sense of humor, by staging a rabbit invasion. You know, the irritating rabbit-like enemies from the Rayman series that are effectively the minions of video gaming. Yeah, them. Indeed, for 24 hours on April the 1st, all soldiers and pikemen in the game were reskinned as rabbids, each armed with a toilet plunger. The voices were also changed to rabbid voices, which are in no way annoying whatsoever, and when killed, the rabbids turned into chickens. The game's announcer was also replaced with a rabbid, and all of their usual lines became gibberish rabbid noises. Luckily, the event only lasted for 1 day, which was long enough for players to have a good laugh at the ridiculous scenario, but not so long that the whole thing got on their nerves. Or maybe it did. I can't speak for everyone. Number 7. Dog Ace Attorney. Another game that falls into the category of April Fool's jokes everyone wished were real is Capcom's 2015 effort, Dog Ace Attorney, a title which, had it ever made it to consoles, would have seen all of the characters from Ace Attorney turned into adorable pups. Though no one here at Team TripleJump speaks much Japanese, we've learned from a combination of different sources that the whole thing is actually a pun. The character Dai, meaning great, looks very similar to the character Inu, which translates to, you've guessed it, dog. And I've probably mispronounced both of those. Not dog, though. Had the game actually materialized, it seems that players would have been able to enjoy all of the nail-biting legal drama of the Ace Attorney series, but with cute investigators like Sherlock Hound and Inu Hodu Ryuichi. Yeah? Unfortunately for us, the whole trailer is in Japanese, so for all we know, it could say something along the lines of, haha, look at these April Fools that think they're getting an adorable dog game, though we'd like to think Capcom wouldn't be quite that cruel. For reasons unknown, Capcom pulled the trailer from YouTube, but luckily for anyone else who's a fan of courtroom-based canine capers, someone has been kind enough to re-upload it, so it can be enjoyed in all of its doggy splendor. Number 6. Fortnite Stonks skin. You know what's great? Memes. You know what's not great? Big corporations using memes as a thinly veiled marketing ploy in order to make it seem like they're down with the kids. If you hang out on the internet at all, you'll have likely come across the Stonks guy, a meme that's been around since 2017, though it surged in popularity in 2021 after a bunch of Redditors triggered a short squeeze on GameStop Stonks. Please don't ask me to explain what that means because, frankly, I don't have a clue. Keen to get in on the action, Epic Games released Diamond Hans as a purchasable skin on April the 1st, 2021. Like his meme counterpart, Hans boasted features such as a poorly rendered 3D face, a suit, and a tie. Players could get their Hans on all of this for the low price of just 1,200 V-Bucks, or around $10 if you want to get actual real-world currency about this. Before you go rushing out to convert your hard-earned cash into V-Bucks, though, we must warn you that doing so does come with the obligation to play Fortnite, so bear that in mind. I joke, of course, and may the Fortnite gods bestow Adam with many more victory royales.
I told you I was brilliant!
Number 5. Rock Band the Board Game. In recent years, there have been loads of tabletop games based upon our favorite video games. For more information on that, you should check out our list on the subject, pluggity plug plug plug. With that said, there are certain titles that wouldn't translate well into a board game format, which is probably why Harmonix opted to make Rock Band the Board Game the basis for their 2012 April Fool's japes. Framed in the style of a mid-90s toy advert, the trailer for Rock Band the Board Game promises players all the fun of Rock Band the video game, but without all of the faffing about trying to build a plastic drum kit. Although the rules of the game aren't made clear in the 2-minute clip, presumably because such a game doesn't actually exist, Harmonix did promise that Rock Band the Board Game would feature a more extensive song library than any other rhythm action game on the market, and that's not an offer you'd want to pass up. Other features included the character creator, which is definitely not just a piece of paper and wax crayons, auto-calibration, and tilt-to-deploy overdrive. The entire concept was completely ridiculous, but then again, so was pressing buttons on a plastic guitar and pretending you was Slash. No judgment, of course, we all did it. I even had the top hat. Number 4. Zoom Royale. If you're a person who works in an environment where you're expected to go to a lot of meetings, in the past couple of years you'll have no doubt become very familiar with Zoom, or one of its many imitators. You're also probably sick and tired of colleagues with terrible internet connections, noisy children and/or pets, and those who never seem to remember to take themselves off mute. The good people over at IGN came up with a fantastic solution to all these problems in April 2021 in the form of Zoom Royale, a concept which aimed to transform dull conference calls into exciting PvP deathmatches. All of the aforementioned infractions caused participants to lose points, as did using ridiculous management speak and hesitating whilst talking. Lose enough points and you are eliminated from the call. Sadly, the add-on was nothing more than an April Fool's joke, so as much as we wish we could implement it on all of our Zoom calls, we must soldier on with the usual boring meetings. James, you're on mute again. Number 3. PlayStation Flow. We've made no secret of the fact that here at Team TripleJump we're not keen on water levels. After all, they're usually tedious, protracted, and control approximately as well as a shopping trolley full of excitable kangaroos. Have fun animating that, editor. It's probably for all those reasons that in 2015, Sony announced PlayStation Flow, a series of peripherals that allowed players to dive right into the action, pun very much intended. The trailer demonstrates the new technology and claims that players need only pause their game, then head down to their local swimming pool, put on the PlayStation Flow armbands, leg bands, and goggles, and get right back to the watery fun times. Once you're out of the pool, though, you don't want to spend time having to dry yourself. You want to get back to your game, right? Well, not to worry, because Sony thought of that as well. Just step onto the PlayStation Flow body dryer and all that water will be gone in no time. Though the announcement did seem rather silly at the time, with the leaps and bounds made in VR technology, we can't help but feel like in the next few years we might actually see something similar to the PlayStation Flow going into development. I won't hold my breath though. Pun intended. Number 2. the Omega Smart Speaker. As troubling as the thought of billionaires invading our homes and listening to our every conversation is, it's hard to deny just how much easier our lives are thanks to smart speakers like Amazon's Alexa and Google's Home Hub. They don't exactly look or sound very cool though, and there's a serious lack of choice for anyone that's looking to bring an unimaginably powerful primal being into their home, especially if they're after one that can also tell them what the weather's going to be like tomorrow. Enter Omega, the smart speaker from Square Enix that ticks all of the above boxes and then some. Sure, he occasionally goes on rants about the inferiority of mankind and he may just murder your entire family, but he also knows what the score of last night's game was, so, swings and roundabouts, really. Unfortunately, despite making his debut on April the 1st, 2019, Omega has not yet made his way onto the shelves of any of our favourite retailers, owing to the fact that he isn't actually a real product and was instead a tongue-in-cheek advert for Final Fantasy XIV. Oh well. At least we still have Alexa. Alexa, engage Wave Cannon.
I've added Shrek 3 on DVD to your shopping list.
I said, Alexa, engage Wave Cannon. Number 1. Dark Souls 3, the movie. We've got to hand it to the Dark Souls marketing team here, as their 2016 April Fool's joke actually ended up being one of the more creative trailers we've seen for a video game. The ad, which claimed to be for Dark Souls 3 the movie, promises viewers a story of one man's epic journey across the land as he fights to hold on to his mortality. The whole thing looks and sounds like it's been plucked directly out of the 80s. Anyone who grew up in the decade will recognize the jerky visuals, garishly colored graphics, and menacing voiceover from B-movies of old. It even comes with its own cheesy tagline, which will invoke memories of the splatter films of yesteryear. To be fair, even if a regular game trailer used the phrase, "When you pick a fight with the devil, you'd better be stronger than hell," we'd be rushing out to buy it at the first opportunity. We can't decide whether it's fortunate or unfortunate that the whole thing was done just for laughs. On the one hand, we've endured too many Uwe Boll productions to ever have confidence in a video game movie again, but on the other, that trailer was really darned cool.